Good morning, Dr. Dena, and it's March 14th, 2026. Where are your thoughts today? Are you creating an apocalypse or are you building our new world? Where your attention and focus goes, energy flows and grows. So your thoughts are things. They are building blocks to create matter. So yesterday's video is called Lucky 13. And in that video, I give you tips for mastering your mind, tips that I've researched. And basically, I've used the strategies that have been used against us to help you empower yourself. So I give kind of 10 different examples and of kind of where we've been and how you can use that to master your own mind. Remembering again, your thoughts are things, and then you can use them, right, to create the reality that you would love. And sometimes we're focused on what we don't want, and that's what we bring into our awareness. And in yesterday's video, I showed you a little experiment, right, where I had a magazine and I changed pens and showed you that wherever you focus on is the reality that you live. And you might be missing a whole other timeline in that process. So my question today, keeping in with that advice that I suggested, right, using our thoughts to create a new world, my question is for clan mothers, heredity chiefs, or any other sovereign-minded individuals. How do we frame up a new sovereign paradigm? So I know Fudo and Sensei, who are working through the War of the Lord manuals and the White Flag movement, are doing some great works. And clan mother Karen McDonald, who sent me a video last night. Karen's been a dear friend for many years too. And looking at her work that she's doing with clan mothers and understanding and knowing that history, that the clan mothers hold allodial title to the land. Land's not owned by the Canadian government. That's another little magic trick, right? There's not a bill of sale for the grounds in Canada. So how do we put this into practical practice is really my question. So do we create a new matriarchal form of governance? Or do we try to integrate into that patriarchal cooperation? My sense is to create a whole new system and leave the old system to collapse into ruins, but that's just me. I like to keep an open mind and invite in other conversations. So I think I'll tag Fudo, Shin, and also Clan Mother in this video and invite them into maybe a Zoom where we can kind of discuss what the possibilities are, what they're currently working on. But if you're listening and you have any ideas about framing up our sovereign world, put them below or connect with me. And I'm going to share some information that I put in my book about sovereignty, because that might trigger some other ideas or might bring in some more people to organically grow this idea. So as you know, one person anchored, right, in truth and love and clarity can affect thousands. And we're seeing that two commonly cited formulas. There's, 1% of the population can affect thousands, and the square root of 1%, which is a smaller amount, but a very powerful few, through their higher vibration and higher consciousness, it's theorized that they can influence the whole system. So we can see that 1% with a lower consciousness, right, in the pharmaceutical and the big business and the corporations, can control things from the top down. But what about if we supersede that with a higher consciousness? And I'm going to give you some of my thoughts from my book. And the book is in a digital form on my website, healthtruth.blog. I'll post it here. But the first, chapter 1, so it's 8 steps to aligning to your power. But the subtitle of this in chapter 1 is From Cosmic Awakening to Inner Activation. So our new age, reading directly from the book right now, our new age is not emerging from some distant place. It's awakening within us. It's like a seed breaking beneath the soil. And the cosmic events unfolding around us are simply mirrors reflecting the expansion that's already underway within our own consciousness. So the invitation they offer is simple but profound. It's to balance the structure with surrender, the discipline with devotion, the wisdom with wonder, to participate fully, right, in this leap of consciousness. And I in the book, I also give kind of astrological markers that show why this is so. I mean, you're feeling it. I know we can see it in all the chaos that's happening around the world, but it's been written in the stars. You are, and you always have been, the one you're waiting for. I mean, that's such a beautiful, relieving idea, isn't it? You know, that you're the one that you've been waiting for. Your inner world shapes your outer world. So your innermost thoughts is creating your reality. Every thought you plant in the universal matrix, like a seed planted in fertile soil, becomes a creative force that eventually shapes your reality. When you reclaim your power, you naturally rise beyond the outdated paradigms, much like a bird that soars, above the cage once it realizes the door is open. So deep within you are these divine codes, these spiritual blueprints of higher intelligence and love. And these codes aren't acquired. They were birthed into you. And they awaken through gratitude, through joy, through loving service, and through grace. Gratitude in particular unlocks the door. It unlocks the remembrance. It's like the gate that releases wisdom that's stored in your cells and helps you activate your original design. So the more you engage in uplifting energies, the more beauty and service and sacred sound and sunlight, and you're programming your thoughts to where you love to be, particularly, in nature and truth, the more rapid these codes align in your consciousness to your higher self. So the book kind of helps you awaken these higher codes, kind of like an initiation or activation, step by step. But the first step is really knowing that they're there and that you're the only one that can activate them. That's kind of important. So again, it's the gratitude. And that's why I did the video yesterday. I think it would be helpful. I don't know, I'm a bit biased because I did it, but I think it's helpful in seeing kind of what techniques have been used against you, and then scoop up all those tools and you can use them to your advantage. And finding gratitude in where we've been is really important, because if you're still held in resentment and pain and fear and of what has happened, right, then the apocalypse, there's no way for you to ascend. There's no way for you to get out of that matrix while you're still angry and emotional within it. So understanding how it's there, finding gratitude in that purpose and in that path is the only way you can move to a higher consciousness, and where you're liberated, where your birdcage door is open. Gratitude is the birdcage door. It lets you out. So I think that video Lucky 13 might help. And then this one where we're talking about a sovereign mindset. So the next part is also in chapter 1 of 8 steps to aligning to your power. And this section is called Free Will, the Matrix, and the False Light Trap. Sovereignty is your natural state, but forces outside of alignment with this source energy have attempted to hijack consciousness. Go back to that video if you don't believe me and just see all the examples that I gave. They cannot, this is such an important piece of information. When I found out this, I cried. And I might do it again, just out of gratitude. They cannot violate your free will directly. Universal law prevents it. I'll say that again. They cannot violate your free will directly. The universal law prevents it. But what they can do is trick you into surrendering it yourself. And that magic video that I just did will show you their tricks. And like I said, once you know the tricks, they lose their power. The Sovereign Handbook by Jason Stone is brilliant and serves as a guidebook to the words that they use to control you. So the word people, for example, understand means to stand under. People, citizen. This is all part of their matrix, right? The words that they use spell your position within the hierarchy. And so if you don't know the words, then you don't even know when you're trapped. Signature versus autograph, right? aboriginal versus savage or native. That was one that I learned last night. You know, you're aboriginal. You're not original, right? Where savage is the original. So little things like this is really important. The words, right, are also things that create our reality. So once you know their spelling book, then you can be empowered. So the Sovereign Handbook by Jason Stone, used as a guide to the words they use to control you. When one soul fully exercises their free will, it creates a ripple that impacts the larger system. That's what we've just talked about, right? The 1%. Often referred to the universe or the cosmos, or, you know, our population in general, or our world or humanity or whatever, right? The one can affect the many if the one is powerful. If the one is unleashed, right? Their free will, and they've left the cage, right? They can like call out to their friends and get their friends to come along. This is the way. Kind of kidding, but not. So when one soul fully exercises their free will, it creates a ripple and impacts the entire system. It breaks the pattern of control. It lets you know you're in a cage for the first thing, and then it shows you where the door is. It shifts the collective frequency away from being victimized and like somebody's going to inject you. Like, you chose to be injected. You had a choice. No one came to your door with a needle. Yes, they put consequences in place and they tried to threaten you, but some people kept their jobs and still didn't kind of inject themselves. They found a way around it. And the same thing with the digital ID. I should just stop here for a minute, try to remember where I am. The digital ID. I still use my credit cards. I have cash. I have some silver. I don't know how to use the cryptocurrency, but I have a friend who's keeping some for me. So I've diversified in all those different areas. I don't use QR codes, or try not to use QR codes. If I go to an airport, I don't let them use the biometrics, but they always give you a choice, right? You can go to the machine and put your fingerprints in and get your scan, or you can just say, you know, I don't want to put my information on the internet. Can I please speak to the customs officer? So I do, right? So where I can, I try to avoid it. I'm not signing up for the health app that Tim Houston has so generously suggested, right? I don't want my health on an app. The cell phone is dangerous, cell phone frequencies. Right now I'm working on an Ethernet cord, and go back to cord technologies, because that affects the biofield. So I don't think we have to reject it fully, because I don't think we can unless we go back to being a savage, a sovereign savage in the woods and not do that, you know. But even for me to communicate with you right now, I have to own a cell phone in order to, you know, be part of that. But you can, within that matrix, you can carve out your own path. You don't have to accept everything they suggest to you. Right? You don't have to take the shot. You don't have to take their health app. Just tell them you don't have a phone. That's what I do. Sorry, no, I don't have a cell phone. You have to find another way to communicate with me. So, you know, it may be not an either or, but when you can see the paradigm, you can make smarter choices, right? You can make more informed, empowered choices within the system. So yeah, where was I with that? Shifts the collective frequency when one soul fully exercises their free will. Maybe I was thinking about this at the airport. I had to stand in a long lineup in Heathrow Airport and, you know, take off my shoes, and my purse was waiting on the other side as, you know, thousands of people were going by, because I asked for a pat down because I refused to go through the X-ray machine or do all the digital stuff that they wanted. But you know, and I thought, oh, well, I'm not going to miss my flight. I still have another hour. I'm going to be okay. But by me standing there, it was a bit embarrassing. But I thought all those thousands of people that, you know, were traveling by me could see somebody standing up for something they believed in. And it maybe sparked an idea. Why would they not want to go through that? Is this harmful, right? So one person challenging the system opens the cage door. You know, that first person gets a few bumps and bruises and scrapes and scratches on the way out, but then it makes it easier for the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth person that comes through, right? So reclaim your own energy. Just don't give it away. So I'm not saying not to use your phone if you want to use it sometimes, even though it's a dangerous frequency that's affecting your energy and biofield. It's like having a dog collar, shock collar on, or a surveillance device like they do with prisoners. This is where the technology came from. Cell phone, it came from prisoners. So if you're using your cell phone and you have it strapped to your body, just know that you're a prisoner within that matrix. Whether you do it or not is up to you. I'm just telling you, that's what it is. That's the fact of the matter. So, it's kind of funny to see all these people out protesting for freedom while they have their cell phone in their pocket and can be zapped or whatever. They have your biometrics then, right? You're in the control system. And the whole COVID crisis was just for that. It was to inject nanotechnology. That's why they had a computer operator kind of give you the shot. And it actually works on a 5G network. So if you're using your cell phone and you've been injected, it's a double whammy because they have more direct control over your biometrics. So again, just knowing this information is helpful, yes? Activate the archetypal template, restoring creativity, sovereignty, and joy. So knowledge, brings wisdom. Knowledge is different from wisdom because knowledge is just data. Wisdom kind of integrates both sides, knowing what both sides are, so then you can make a choice, a sovereign choice for you and your family. So let's go over that. When one soul fully exercises their free will, it creates ripples into the larger system. It breaks patterns of control. It shifts the collective frequency. It reclaims energy. It activates the archetypal templates, restoring creativity, sovereignty, and joy. And it generates new possibilities within the field, opening space for the collective awakening, which is my purpose for doing this video, is putting the question out there, how do we create a more sovereign society? We realize the Canadian government is a corporation. And it's a crown corporation, so they're kind of in bed with the crown. And they, play tricks on us. And, how can we create and go back to our roots, which is a matriarchal society that holds the allodial title to the land. So it's only in our ignorance that this can continue. Once somebody stands up and says, hey, get off our land, the system starts to change. And it generates new possibilities, like I said, within the field. So in essence, the artificial matrix only operates, this is another important point, where free will is unexamined. I'll say that again. In essence, the artificial matrix, that could be the digital ID, that could be the government system that wants you to inject yourself, whatever that system is, only operates where your free will is unexamined. So why did people get the shot? I had no choice. They didn't see where they had choice. Why are you succumbing to the digital ID? Why do you go through the biometrics and get scanned and get your face and have them have direct access to your biology? Why do you do that? I had no choice, or I didn't know I had a choice. So in essence, the artificial matrix only operates where free will is unexamined. Awareness, deliberate choice, and energetic reclamation dissolves the patterns. That's why it was so important for me to get this book out. It's like a secret, that like I learned the secret and I like trying to tell as many people as I can. So far, only 20 people are interested, but maybe this might interest you, right? Maybe you don't have to read the book. Maybe this information, maybe this one line is what you need today. Every act of conscious alignment strengthens the soul and reshapes reality. Every act of conscious alignment strengthens the soul and reshapes reality. Oh, that's so beautiful. It just makes me want to cry. So wherever you are today in the world, wherever you are, in whatever situation, there's one thing you can do to align to your power, to align to the best version of you, your highest self, whatever that is. It could be like choosing to have a protein shake instead of a chocolate bar, or, choosing to walk an extra 30 minutes, or to spend some time in the sunlight, or to make a call to a loved one, or to reconnect with someone that you've had an argument with, or to challenge a system that you don't agree with. I mean, whatever it is, there's something you can do right now. And that act, whatever it is for you, affects our whole system. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. He said, "Beware when the Great Spirit lets loose a free thinker on this planet, then all things are at risk." So I'm just going to ask again this question: how do we create a sovereign paradigm? You know, where do we go from here? We know the details. We know our sovereignty is our choice. We know we have free will to choose. We're learning the tricks that they've used against us so we can use it to empower ourselves. So where we've been is really just our Jedi training. You know, we've got the badge now. We got the t-shirt. Now we have to put it into practice, right? Instead of focusing on creating an apocalypse, how do we actually put our thoughts and our mind and our actions in place to create our new world? So Fudo Shin, I love what you and Sensei have been doing. You know, you've been in this movement from the beginning, and truly, you know, I don't know why I've got such gratitude today, but I keep getting choked up, but shown such, you know, honor and integrity, as has Clan Mother MacDonald, and, you know, are working outside and, you know, can see what the paradigm is within these systems, within these corporations. So, you know, you are my two friends that I'd invite first to give opinions and to maybe use our collective mind to design some future steps. But if you're anybody that's listening right now and you have some ideas on how to regain our sovereignty outside of that system, you know, put your information in here or send me an email at dr.denac, as in Churchill, at protonmail.com. My Gmail has been hacked. My Facebook has been hacked, but I still have my Proton account, and I'm still allowed to do this video. So thank you, Facebook gods, for allowing this, because I think I would go mad with all this information if I didn't have an outlet to share it with. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jack. You've been such a mentor. And thank you, Michelle, for all your communication. And Joseph, again, you've done a lot of work on sovereignty, I know, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, too. So go out there today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. And that chokes me up too. Just overwhelmed with gratitude. I woke up this morning and I just had to do this video right away for some reason. But go out there today and reach for the stars. Reach for your highest potential, your highest good. You know, let go of the fear, because that's what's used to control you. Reach for the stars. Reach for your highest self. Envision, because your thoughts are things. They're creating matter. Envision and then achieve through your action steps, whatever that one thing is right now today that you can do to align to your highest power. Achieve your best. And then most of all, enjoy in grace and in love the journey, because those are the vibrations that brings you beyond those paradigms. Like I said, they hold you with fear. They actually harness your emotion and your energy for their own purpose. And that can be an emotion, or it can be in your taxes, or whatever that, you know, form of energy is. They harness you. So just refuse to put your harness on. You know, travel. What was the quote I used in my book? It was, ride your fear. Saddle up your fear and take it for a ride. You know, instead of putting on the harness that they have for you, you know, saddle up your fear and take it for a ride. So I love you guys. Go out there, make today great. And I'll put the link to the book, 8 Steps to Aligning to Your Power, at my blog. It's only about 240 pages, and it's in an ebook that you can download from the website. If the Gmail's working, if you're having problems with it, let me know. And I'll also tag Clan Mother Karen and Fudo Shin, because they're doing some great work, and put their videos in here too. Because again, our collective ideas and our collective mind is really what's shifting this paradigm. I love you.